Oh, hi. Thanks, TY. I hope you all can hear me and see me as well.
Yes, we can hear and see you.
All right then. Okay, let's proceed with the presentation. Okay, you will see me eyeballing left and right because I have two screens here running. Thank you for joining us. Let me get my presentation up and running. Give me a minute here. Okay. Let me. All right. Okay, let me share the screen as well. Stop screen two. Okay, it will be coming into your screen very soon. Can you see my screen? All right. Welcome everyone. My session will be the last session for today. Windows Server 2019, disaster recovery like a child's play. Wait, hold on. Let me just. What just happened here? All right. Okay. Okay. Hi, I'm Palvin Singh from Sinjiru Technologies, Sanyam Berhad. I'll be hosting this session for Windows Server 2019 disaster recovery like a child's play. Actually, this is a lighter session, but the topic is quite heavy. I'll keep it light as possible for you all to follow. The event, the event work from home, track 1, hybrid IT. This is the last session, and predominantly it will be demo based. As you can see my email at the bottom here, this is my email, palvin.jogin@sinjuru.com.my. Okay, before we continue, let's have a word from our sponsor. For compute node, HPE is one of the broadest range of servers available for Azure Stack HCI. There are 9 different models to choose from, ranging from desktop to rack mount solutions. Okay, these are all the range they have for which is HCI certified. With that also comes with storage node. HP has 14 different configurations that support JBOD to extend storage capacity without adding nodes or compute. For more information on products and services provided, do get hold of HPE near you. Now, let's go back to disaster recovery on Windows Server 2019. DR definitely is not a doctor. All right, it's disaster recovery in IT and functions similar to a doctor. It's a process to recover from any ailments caused by a disaster. There are many ways to implement DR, and it can take a toll for an infrastructure which is much cheaper than the DR solution itself. So this does discourage many people from investing into DR because the DR itself is much more expensive than the solution they have in hand. That is the production side. DR is also initiated only when there's a need or business justification to do so. So with this, since DR is not done every time, recovery teams need to know what is needed for a successful DR, the plan. Okay, plan DR. Since DR is not initiated every time, to keep everyone on their toes, plan DR is very important to make sure if it happens, DR will be successful. Plan DR is very important process to make sure all parties and also variables for a DR are taken care of and achieve a successful DR. You can say it's a DR drill, and this drill can be updated from time to time depending on the changes in the system. Depending on DR solutions, it can be painstakingly difficult to manage and undertake. So keeping it simple as possible is a big factor, a very big factor actually, in making sure DR is manageable even by smaller recovery team or an individual. Windows Server 2019 have managed to provide some simple undertakings of DR scenario. The best part, it's free. Bundled with Windows Server 2019, which takes advantage of virtualization technology, which is also free, provided by Windows. So software sites are all free. You can't really argue with that. Users can take advantage of these tools within Windows Server 2019. Windows Server 2019 out-of-the-box DR capable tools. There are two tools that we're going to touch on today, which is Hyper-V Replica on the left, as you can see, and Storage Replica. Let's move forward and see in a brief what is these two tools all about. First, we are going to touch on Hyper-V Replica. It's a tool that can be configured when Hyper-V role is enabled in the server. Hyper-V Replica doesn't need any additional licenses. It allows fast recovery of VM, consists of two main scenarios. Okay, two main scenarios in either same geolocation or different geolocation. It can support both. It also enables movement of VM from server to server if it's the same geolocation, and it works as active-passive solution. All right. Let's look at the next slide for some diagrams for better understanding of this Hyper-V Replica. As you can see, on Hyper-V Replica, there is server A and server B. The gray box is server A and the black box is server B. There are 3 VMs in server A. Okay, this is the active node. That means this is your production site, this server A. All right, and then we are replicating from left to right. So this makes server B a passive node. These VMs are in shutdown mode. That means it is not online. All right. The active production site will be online and the passive will be offline. But they are there, ready, replicating every 5 minutes interval. There are 3 intervals you can choose from. Later we'll look into that. And also whenever, for instance, VM3, we bring it up on passive server. So this passive server for VM3 becomes online, becomes active. All right. So once this becomes active, sorry, where's the mouse? Okay. Once this becomes active, replication direction can be changed to go back. So any changes from server B now, once server B is active fully, all replication will move from right to left. All right. Okay, let's go to the next scenario. Next scenario is different geolocation. It's exactly same like previously you see. Only difference you can see is now, rather than calling it server A and server B, usually people call it as site A and site B. And usually it's DC1 and DC2. Okay, it could be KL and Cyberjaya. Okay, for now, additional component has been introduced in between both sides is this internet in between. So it can replicate towards the internet. This is a very common scenario. Doesn't mean it just replicate only through the internet. You can also, if let's say you some users they have a fiber link in between DC to DC, they can use the lease line, dark fiber, or any fiber link in between as well. But the common scenario is through internet. And then same as previously, once site B is active, replication will move backwards to site A. Once site B is active, and this turns to passive. I'll show you that in a while, how that is done. Okay, now next is Storage Replica. So Storage Replica is another tool that can be enabled in Windows Server 2019. It enables volume level replication. Just now was VM, this time is volume between servers or also between clusters. If you have Hyper-V cluster and you have some storage in between, you can use this as well. Okay, it supports 2 types of replication. One is synchronous and asynchronous. Synchronous is usually used for those networks with low latency. That means your local network, preferably. Asynchronous is something that's different geolocation where you have higher latency. Then it's better to go for asynchronous. It's exactly like Hyper-V Replica, where the disk, the movement of data will go from active server to passive server. Hold on. Okay, this is the diagram of the storage replica to give you a better understanding of what it's all about. Server A, we have C drive, and I haven't put the C drive here. There's data 1 which I want to replicate over, and there's log01 which will be used by storage replica itself. All right. So this log volume must be there to enable storage replica to use this for its functions. Data is the disk that I want. As you can see, replication direction is data 01. C drive I'm not going to replicate because it's just OS. I don't need anything from there. And the disk that is formatted for all this is GPT. You use GPT disk in order to use storage replica properly. Okay, network through network it goes, then it goes to server B. Disk in server B will be there, but it will not be accessible. It's still active passive solution. So disk B, I'll show you that in a while in a demo, but disk B won't be accessible. All right, once you change the direction of this becoming active and this becoming passive, then this will go online with all the content, and this will not be accessible once it's passive. All right, so that's about it for storage replica. So how do we enable these features in Windows Server 2019? Now it's demo time. It's very short. Let's cut down to demo. Okay, let me introduce you to my environment. Hold on, minimize this. That's my environment. Okay. This is my environment. Ignore all the other VMs which are off and all that. So the main important thing we are going to look at is these two VMs for Hyper-V replica. Okay, and these three VMs for storage replica. Okay, so this Hyper-V replica, you can consider this if it's a physical server, you can consider it as a physical server, because if it's on physical server, you do the exact same thing, no difference there. It's just that I simulate it in VM environment. Okay, let's go to Hyper-V replica 01. Okay, where is my Hyper-V replica? Here it is. Okay, let's say I have a scenario where suddenly I have this server running, this VM running in one of my server. This is my server, my physical server. Then I have a VM running which is finance. And suddenly I have a scenario where this server is located, the roof is leaking for whatever reason, plumbing or whatever reason. So temporary solution, I have a bucket placed on the server rack, but I cannot move this finance server with a lot of downtime. So I can use actually this DR2 to move over this financial server with minimizing the downtime. All right, how do we do that? So we can even use this to move servers around, or we can use it as full DR scenario. Okay, so now we are going to see this is finance server in our physical server. So double click the VM. Let's connect into VM, see it's running. So this is already pre-installed Hyper-V server. It's running, let's say it's running for quite some time now. Okay, this is inside my finance server. I'm pinging my domain. Yes, detects, no problem, it's working fine. So now let's enable Hyper-V replica. Hyper-V is already enabled here, so we don't need to touch here. Let's say I've already put another server in another location, in another server rack altogether, and then I want to create this Hyper-V replica scenario. So the another server, physical server would be this. All right, this would be the another physical server. So here, let's go to start. Wait, hold on. No, this is not right. Okay, let me just shrink like that. Okay, go to start. I hope you all can see the screen. Go to start. So the server manager, first we need to do is to enable Hyper-V role on this new server. So we add rules and features. We have to wait for a while. That it should be good to go. We add rules and features. All right, next. So we can choose role-based feature installation. Next, we're going to choose our local server itself. Next. All right, so the role here, what we want to do is to enable Hyper-V role. So whatever prerequisite comes with it, we just leave it as default. Add features. Okay, next. Okay, this we leave it as it is. Next. Next. This also I'm leaving as it is. Later I'll create this. Next. All leave it as default. This also I leave it as default. And then install. Okay, now it's going to install the Hyper-V role into the new server, which is called Pal Hyper Rep02 Pal.net. Hold on, it will take some time here to install the role. So this is the same thing you do on server 1 when you want to create a VM. So basically you install the Hyper-V role in server 1 and get the VM running on server 1. Now we are creating a DR site. So server 1 has been running for quite some time already now. This is a new server. So I'm just enabling the Hyper-V role here. So I can use this server as DR or just to move the VM over. Okay. All right. Okay, we wait here a bit. This does take some time. All right. Okay, let's look at this server. This server is all okay running. Okay. So the scenario here, I'm showing you just only one VM, but actually can be more VMs. So if let's say you are to move server and you have 200 VMs here, and then you don't need to move all together because 200 VMs, for instance, 200 EVMs equivalent to 200 different customers. Each customer can accept different time of downtime. Let's say this customer A accepts downtime at today, for instance, he is willing to go for a downtime, short downtime, very short downtime today to do the migration over to server B. So customer C is tomorrow, customer D is next day and all that. So you can actually fail over VM level. You don't need to fail over host level. So you can time and schedule your failover accordingly or based on system. Okay, let's go back. I'm still installing. It does take a bit of time. All right. Okay, let's wait for this to load. After this will be much faster to enable the Hyper-V replica. Okay, live demo is like that. We have to wait for the thing to finish its task. If it will be video means I can cut short on this process. All right. Rather than we wait a bit more. If not, I'll go to another demo. Okay, let's introduce you to Storage Replica VM while this thing installed. All right. The Storage Replica server which I have is this store one. Okay, I'm going to go back and forth a bit. Hopefully you all don't get lost. If you all do this, do let me know. So this is my storage replica server, the server number one. I want to replicate its volume called data01. So if you can see here, I got data01. I have some data here inside. And then there's log file which is empty. These files are actually GPT. Let's look at this management. Nope, still running. Okay, they are GPT file format. So you can convert to dynamic or MBR, but we're not going to do that. We leave it as GPT. Both of this, even the logs that is used for this storage replica need to be in GPT format. Okay. So let's see on roles here. Sorry. Manager. This is the server one. I've already have data here. This is my file server. Add roles and features. Next. Oh, I'm not sure why this is taking very long. Next. Next. Okay, this is not a role actually. Storage replica is more of a feature. So it's at the bottom here. Okay, the first server I've already installed. So no need to do any changes here. There's no changes to be done on the first server I've already installed. So you just cancel this, cancel, minimize this and off. All right, let this thing roll. Meanwhile, we go to storage replica. Okay, let me minimize this, Hyper-V storage. Okay, I've already enabled role on this server, which is Pal Hyper-V Store 01. Then this would be my new server, which I want to enable the role itself. So I go to start, same like just now, server manager. Okay. Okay, Hyper-V store. Okay, server manager. Add roles and features. Okay, next. Next. Okay, I'm going to install in localhost itself. Next. Okay, it's not a role, it's a feature. So I go next, I find in feature, storage replica. Okay, storage replica, there's also prerequisites of other features to be added. So we just add feature. All right, next, install. Okay, this will install the storage replica feature here. As you can see, if I go here, it's empty. Data one, I've created identical drives here as well, because in order to do Hyper-V, storage replica, the drive on server A and server B need to be identical. Okay, so I have data one at 20 gig, same like server A, GPT formatted. Log for the Hyper-V replica to be used, 8 GB. Log size can be tweaked later if by default is 8 GB. So you can tweak during deployment. I'll show you that in a while. Okay, this is fast. Our feature is very fast. So let's go to this first then. So we just close this. It asking me, is telling me to restart. Let's restart the server. All right, let's restart the server. Start, restart, continue. Okay, this server, what we are doing is we are installing the storage replica feature. Okay, we just wait for this Hyper-V replica to install. And sorry, Hyper-V feature to install to enable the Hyper-V replica. The features are very fast. Let's stop it. Okay, this is my top secret password. After reboot, this is my admin domain account. Okay, I've already logged in. Let's check if the features is installed. I like to use GUI. Usually, in order to use Hyper-V replica, storage replica, you need to use PowerShell to enable the relationship between server A and server B. But I'm a GUI person. I like to click here and click there, click on buttons especially. So add role and features, just double check. Next, next, next. Next. Right. Storage replica is installed. So in order for me to configure the storage replica, I'm not going to do it using PowerShell. I don't run any command. I prefer to use GUI. So there's another server which I created here, which is called, hold on, Palvin Admin Center 01. So this is actually Windows Admin Center. All right. So this Admin Center is a very good tool to have. So this gives me the ability to use the GUI to enable the storage, to configure the storage replica. So I just want to add in the server. There are two servers I haven't added yet actually. Never mind, we just add. Okay, I'm lazy, so I just search my Active Directory. I search all. Search, I went to add. So basically I'm adding a server. Search, is that simple? Okay, so this is the server I want to add. So I add. So I've already successfully added, as you can see here. You can drop down here to see more. So next I go to the server itself. Click first time logging in through Windows Admin Center. Windows Admin Center is installed externally on another server. It can be also installed in your laptop, Windows 10, not an issue, but you need to connect back to your environment with a lot of connections. So I prefer to have another server in the environment which have Windows Admin Center installed. So either you can browse through here all the features that it can support, or you just go to just like storage. Okay, here you go, storage replica down here, sorry. Storage replica, click. So now I can use GUI to create relationships between the storage. So I click new, use an existing VM or a server or a VM. So I click next. So now we're going to define the source server. The source server is actually, I already have the names here. Source server is, okay, is same with this. Okay, it's just same with this. I'm just going to copy this. Paste .net, sorry, .net, but this is 01. Okay, it's going to search automatically all the volumes in that server. All right, volumes retrieve, automatically detects data 01, and this is the log. This is the volume that I want to replicate, data 01, and this is the log volume that will be used by Hyper-V replica. Storage replica. Okay, group name I can just put Web1, for instance. All right. So next I'm going to put in the destination server information. So what's the destination server name? This is the destination server actually. So I'm just going to copy this properly again. Paste. So you're going to search all volumes on that particular. I already detected. So for application group name, I'm going to just create REP. Let's say REP2. All right. So there's more options down here. I enable synchronized mode. You can disable this if you are doing replication over high latency network to say in another DC, for instance. Okay, since I'm already sitting in the same network, so I'm just going to enable synchronous mode. I don't need that feature to be asynchronous. So synchronous will create recovery points as well. Okay, that's the beauty of asynchronous. I don't need that. I need the latest available data over another side. So I can also encrypt if I want the traffic. I can also enable consistency group, which I'm going to leave it to default. And this log size for the log volume. So you can define how big you want. By default is 8 GB. I'm going to leave it at 8 GB because I have enough drive for logs. So I just create. So this will take some time to create. Okay, let's go back to the Hyper-V. Did it manage to install? No, not this, sorry. It's this. Still installing. Let me just reboot the server, hold on. Restart. Okay. So it's going to take some time. Okay, it's still creating the storage replica. Okay, shows some error here. Now I just refresh. There's a refresh button over here. Click. All right. Now you can see source node is my PAL Hyper vStore 01 and PAL Hyper vStore 02 is my destination node. Let's see what happens to the drives. Okay, we're going to go to the particular this one drive. Okay, this is my main node, the source node. So source node, I will be able to access all the files. All the files are there. Okay, this log, suddenly there's something there. All right, you won't be able to see it. It's used by storage replica. So my data is here. So this is the active node. So let's look in the passive node. How does it look like? I can restore, close, minimize. Sorry. So you can see the data 01 here, but I cannot go in. It won't allow you to go in until you make this active or you break the replication. Then you're able to access it. All right. Let's say now I want to, and you got this function to suspend. Okay, I click this. All the information is down here. All my configuration is down here. Okay, log file, how big, recovery point objective, right, consistency, all the settings which I have done is already here, continuously replicating. So if I want, I can remove, I can suspend. If I want to suspend the services, so I can just suspend from here. All right, it's suspended. The icon will change to this, as you can see. So if I want to enable that, I go to more, I resume. Okay, change back to tick again, it's running fine. And then there is this thing called switch direction. Okay, let's try switch direction. So I want now node 2 to become active and node 2 to become the source and node 1 become the destination. So let's switch direction. So at the click of a button, switch direction, it's going to switch direction. Okay, meanwhile, let me open this VM. Okay, server manager. Okay, still undergoing the role installation. It's taking longer than usual. If I would have known, I would have installed the role upfront. Okay, so it happens basically during demo, live demo that is. So store 1, okay, did it change? Hold on, let me refresh. Switch partnership direction. Okay, now is Pal Hyper-V store 2 and Pal Hyper-V store 1. Hold on, it's not up yet. Refresh again. There, it's up already. So you have to refresh few times to get some updated figures here. So now store 2 is the source node. Store 1 is the destination node. Let's look what happens to the VM storage. We go to store 2, refresh. Yes, now store 2, we have all my data in there. Okay, let's go to store 1, which previously was accessible. Store 1, no, it's no more accessible now. So this is the passive. You will not be able to edit the file. So this is very important to avoid any inconsistency of file or any processes locking the file. So once the file is locked, then replication will not happen properly. All right. So this is storage replica. Okay, this tool here is such a blessing. Then Microsoft is updating it quite frequently, and this GUI, if not, I have to do it all of this using PowerShell. Since I don't need to use PowerShell a lot, I'm so much eager to use this GUI because I like to click here and click there. Okay, and also this can show you all the other, previous presenters have already showed that all the features it can show. It can show you CPU, memory, Ethernet usage of this particular server. If I want, I change server, I go to Windows Admin Center. I choose another server which I want to access. For instance, the first server, this one, connecting. So in there, it's loading, all right. You can see all the information I need. And on top of it, I can even see all the virtual machines. Okay, since Hyper-V is already enabled, there's only one virtual machine there, which is called finance. Okay, one is running inventory. So this is the finance virtual machine. You can stop here, you can connect to virtual machine from here, you can create new also from here. You can even install the particular server with roles from here. Is that convenient? You don't need to log into server one by one, it's all in one GUI dashboard. Okay, let's go back to HybridIT. This is not going forward. I'm not very sure why. This is stuck at 13%. Let me just check what is the problem here. Correct. Okay, let me go back in time. Maybe that would help. Okay, so Hyper-V replica, you can even let's see what else you can do with a Hyper-V replica. Oh no, sorry, storage replica. Storage while this thing loads. Storage replica. Okay, let's add the role now again. Enter. So Hyper-V replica is done. It's already configured. Oh, so there's no Hyper-V replica for this particular server. So we have to go back. Go to any of these servers. Install with the Hyper-V replica tool. Sorry, storage replica. Sorry. Okay, so it will load. So now let's go back to Hyper-V replica. Let's install the role again. Server manager. Add role and features. So now it's still collecting. Next, next, next. Add. Next, 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 next. All the way next. Install, yes. Install. Okay, this might take long a bit. I'm not sure whether we have the time to wait. Oh, it went. It just went forward. Okay, let's see how fast we can do this. All right, that's great. At least I can able to show you all Hyper-V replica itself. I had this VM on for a few days, so I guess it went cuckoo after some time. All right, great. It's restarting. Okay, I'm going to move this fast a bit since we are a bit running out of time. Reboot 2 times. All right. That's Hyper-V. And let's go here. Now still installing. Haven't finished installing the role yet. All right. Close. Okay, we are done. So let's go here, administrative, Hyper-V manager. I like to pin this to my taskbar. Pin to taskbar. All right. Now I want to make sure that my Hyper-V is configured identical to the first server. So as you can see, there's no VM here. All right. So the first thing to configure is your virtual switch. Okay, I'm going to go back to the first server. Sorry, I minimize this. I open the Hyper-V. I look at the virtual switch. Where is it? Oh, here. Okay, this virtual switch, to avoid confusion, I will just follow this exact name. And also, as you can see, if it's a physical server, you'll see the Broadcom or Intel or whatever network card here. But since this is a nested VM, I will see Microsoft network adapter. So now I just go to the second server, create a virtual switch manager, create a virtual switch external, yes, correct. Same identical setting, allow management operating system to share, okay, same with the first server, and I just apply. Oh, yes. So basically, I want to duplicate the network settings, so easier when I do move the VM over, it will be easier for me on the back end to identify to which network it goes to. All right, so, all right, okay. Okay. Okay, now let's go to server 1. Okay, since we already created the switch, we go to server 1. Let's enable Hyper-V replica. It's a very straightforward process. We go to Hyper-V setting, right click this, go to Hyper-V setting. Where is it? There, here it is. We go to replication configuration, enable, we just click enable. I'm going to use HTTP. All right. HTTPS also can be used if you're using DC to DC. Through internet, definitely use HTTPS for security. Okay, since this is an internal network, I'm going to use HTTP. And I'm going to click this. All right. So I'm just going to apply. Apply. Okay. So it asks me to enable this rule. Okay, let's go to firewall. Advanced. Inbound. The rule is Hyper-V replica HTTP. Yes, TCP in. Yes, this is the rule, enable rule. Okay, I've already enabled on server 1. Okay, done. Hyper-V is enabled, but Hyper-V replica is enabled, but we not yet start the VM replication yet. Now we go to server 2, do the same thing. We open Hyper-V, there's no VM here yet. We enable Hyper-V replica here as well. Enable Hyper-V replica, same port 80, allow replication for any authenticated server, and just apply. Okay, here also have to do the firewall thing. I go. Let's go. Firewall. Advanced. Inbound rule. It's every time inbound. Outbound by default is all open unless you define otherwise. Is this the one? Yes, this is the one. Enable rules. All right. Okay. This is also enabled. Firewall is configured. Okay. Okay. So now what we're going to do is create the replication. So this particular server finance 01, right click, enable replication. We click next here, replica server, we put that server's name. So that server is Pal hyper another server, the destination server, okay? The empty server, the new server, rep 02.pal.net. Next. Okay, detected. Okay, using 80. Okay, I'm going to compress my data to use less bandwidth over the network. So you compress and send my replication. Next. Okay, this I leave it as default. Next. There's 3 frequencies you can choose from: 30 seconds, 5 minutes, and 15 minutes. I would like to choose 5 minutes, balance of 30 seconds on 50 seconds. If later you need to change, you can change from here, either down, faster, or slower. All right. Slower, less usage of network, but bigger chunk of data usually will move forward. Okay, I just choose 5 minutes. Next, you can create multiple recovery points, but for now, my notion is to move actually. So I'm going to maintain the latest recovery point. All right. So next. Okay, you can do a lot of other things. You can start replication. Let's say you cannot start now. You have to schedule a day or time to start the replication when it's less busy. So you can use this feature here, but I'm going to start immediately. I'm going to send over to network. Finish. Okay, this is the notice of all the configuration I've done. It's already replicating. If you extend this further, you can see sending replica 6%, 7%. I don't so worry because my network is 10 gig. Internet network is 10 gig, so I don't really worry. Okay, 13% done. 15. Okay. Okay, we are sending. Let's look at the second server. Let it run first, and you can see the percentage. First time is the full file they're going to send over. Once they send the full file over, it will take some time. I've got about 10 minutes left, or 5, I would say. Okay, let's do it. Sorry, it got hanged just now, the server. We would have finished on time. Okay, 56, 57, 8. Okay, let's go to second server. I just show you the results. This is the second server. As you can see, here it's in a state of off. It's still replicating. Okay, let's hope this happens in time, so I can show you the failover. I have this intention to show you all the failover actually. If this failover happens in time, that would be good. So, but in a gist, this is how you configure Hyper-V replica from server A to server B. Okay, we are 97%. Done. Succeeded. All right. So as you can see, this is my second server and this is my first server. All right. So now I'm going to shut down this VM. In order for failover to happen, planned failover, you need to shut down the VM. I'm shutting this down. Last bits of time I have, right click, replication, plan failover, start failover. If I want reverse replication, I can do this later as well, but never mind, I just start first, start. Sending the last data over. Now it's failing over. Okay, now this side has started. This is server 2. So I double click this. Let's log in and see how it is inside. It's booting up. Okay, it's booting up. Okay. Okay. This is on the second server itself. Let's check. Full screen. Yeah. Okay, I've already logged in. Now for a test, run cmd. I'm going to ping my domain, ping tel.net. There, voila. It's up and running on server 2. Okay. All right. That's about it. I've covered both topics on Hyper-V replica and also storage replica. If you have any questions, you can get back to me at, let me put back the, get back to me at palvin@sinjuru.com.my. That's about it for today. Thanks for attending this session. Over to you, TY.